Are you sure you truly understand the people around you? Do you believe you know your colleagues, friends, or even your closest relatives as well as you think? Understanding the nature of those in your life is more important than you might realize. It shapes your relationships, influences your work environment, and affects your overall well-being. Yet many of us overlook the small actions that reveal someone's true character. I remember one particular day at the supermarket. I was standing in line, watching a female customer berate the cashier over a minor issue. She raised her voice, dismissing the young employee's efforts to resolve the problem. I couldn't help but wonder, how does she treat people when no one is watching? Does anyone I know behave like this? These moments make us question not just others' character, but also our ability to navigate relationships effectively. In this video, we'll explore 8 key behaviors that reveal someone's true nature, from how they react to minor inconveniences to their online presence and private actions. You'll discover practical insights rooted in Stoic philosophy that are both timeless and applicable to today's fast-paced world. Stick around to learn how these small, everyday moments can change the way you see others and yourself. And don't forget to share your stories in the comments. Your experiences and strategies could inspire someone else to better understand the people around them. 1. Interactions with those who offer no benefit. The way someone treats individuals who can offer them no immediate advantage is one of the clearest windows into their character. This idea isn't new. It's been a cornerstone of human wisdom for centuries. In today's transactional world, where so much of life revolves around what we gain, such moments reveal whether a person's kindness is genuine or simply a mask they wear when it's convenient. Let me take you back to the supermarket story we touched on earlier. The woman in front of me wasn't just dissatisfied, she seemed determined to assert dominance. "Don't you know that vegetables and meat can't be put together?" she barked at the cashier, her voice sharp and cutting. Then came another demand. "What if this bag drops my stuff? Double bag it." She didn't stop there. "Are you new here? You don't know how to do your job," she sneered, before finally threatening to report the cashier for what she called a bad attitude. All of this unfolded even though the young cashier had quietly and diligently met every demand without faltering. It wasn't hard to see the imbalance in power, and for a moment it felt like the air in the store had grown heavier. This kind of behavior tells us more about the customer than the cashier. In treating someone without authority so poorly, she revealed her lack of empathy and humanity. These interactions, seemingly small and inconsequential, strip away the pretense and show who people really are when they believe there's nothing to gain. Stoicism, a philosophy rooted in inner strength and self-control, challenges us to reflect on such situations with clarity and purpose. Imagine yourself as a bystander, observing this exchange. Your immediate emotions might range from frustration to helplessness. But here's the Stoic perspective. You can't control the actions of others, only your response to them. This isn't just about keeping your emotions in check. It's about understanding the deeper implications of such behavior and learning how to navigate it wisely. So, how should you act when faced with someone who treats others poorly, especially those in less powerful positions? First, don't let their negativity seep into your state of mind. Remaining calm and composed is an act of self-respect. If the situation allows, you might offer a word of kindness to the person being mistreated. A simple, "You handled that well," can mean more than you think. At the same time, avoid escalating the situation. Stoicism teaches us that dignity isn't about confrontation, but about maintaining your integrity in the face of others' faults. For those who recognize similar behavior in themselves, there's an opportunity for growth. Reflect on how you treat those who can't offer you anything in return. True character is built not in grand gestures, but in small, consistent acts of respect and kindness. Whether it's thanking a cashier, acknowledging a janitor, or simply offering a smile to someone delivering your food, these moments matter. They reveal not just the kind of person you are, but the kind of world you're helping to create. And so, the woman's outburst wasn't just an unpleasant memory, it was a reminder. Each interaction is a chance to show who we truly are. Whether we choose empathy or entitlement is entirely up to us. 2. Reactions to minor inconveniences. Our reactions to minor inconveniences often speak louder about who we are than our grand gestures during major life events. Frustration, impatience, or anger in these small moments can reveal an underlying lack of self-control and emotional resilience. In a fast-paced world where delays and disruptions are inevitable, learning to manage our reactions is both a necessity and a reflection of maturity. A friend of mine works as a barista at a well-known coffee shop. One Monday morning, the line of customers stretched out the door. The coffee machine had developed a minor glitch, slowing service considerably. Most customers waited patiently, but a few began to show visible signs of irritation. One man sighed dramatically every few seconds, muttering under his breath. Another woman, tapping her foot incessantly, asked loudly, "How hard is it to make a cup of coffee?" My friend, maintaining a calm demeanor, apologized and worked as quickly as he could. Yet, the grumbles and complaints continued, as if their impatience would somehow fix the machine. This situation mirrors something many of us face every day, whether it's being stuck in traffic or dealing with a delayed order. Think of the last time you were in a long line at the grocery store or trapped behind a slow driver. How did you feel? Did the irritation bubble up, or were you able to let it go? These moments test our ability to remain composed and focus on what's within our control, core principles of Stoic philosophy. The Stoics remind us that while we cannot control external circumstances, we can control our reactions. Marcus Aurelius once wrote that it isn't events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. If you grumble in traffic or lash out at a slow cashier, does it make the situation better? Likely not. What it does reveal is an underlying impatience, an inability to detach from minor inconveniences. How then should we respond when faced with such moments, especially when others around us are visibly frustrated? First, remember that these delays are often fleeting. The coffee machine will eventually be fixed, the traffic will clear, and the line will move. Shift your perspective from frustration to patience, understanding that your reaction defines your experience far more than the delay itself. Second, practice empathy. Imagine being in the shoes of the person dealing with the issue, a barista facing an impatient crowd, or a fellow driver navigating a difficult situation. Extending a small act of kindness, like a smile or a word of understanding, can diffuse tension not only for you, but also for those around you. Lastly, use these moments as opportunities to strengthen your emotional resilience. Treat minor inconveniences as exercises in self-control. When the person next to you reacts with anger or impatience, choose not to mirror their behavior. Instead, see it as a chance to model calmness and composure. My friend later told me that while the morning had been stressful, the occasional kind words from patient customers had made a significant difference. Their calmness stood out amidst the chaos, showing that even small actions can uplift someone's day. The next time you face a delay or inconvenience, remember this: your reaction is a reflection of your inner peace and emotional strength. Choose to rise above frustration, and you'll find a surprising sense of calm waiting for you. 3. Time management and commitment. Time is the most valuable resource we have, and how someone chooses to manage it reveals their priorities, integrity, and respect for others. Mismanaging time or failing to honor commitments isn't just a sign of disorganization. It can erode trust and strain relationships. In both personal and professional settings, the way we value time, our own and that of others, defines our character. A friend of mine recently confided in me about her year-long relationship. Her partner, while kind and affectionate at times, was often late for their dates and had never introduced her to his family. When she suggested they take the next step and meet each other's families, he always found an excuse. These repeated delays and refusals left her feeling undervalued, as though her time and emotions were unimportant. She began to wonder if he was truly invested, or if he simply avoided the responsibilities that come with a deeper commitment. In Stoic philosophy, time is viewed as a finite resource, one that should be guarded carefully. Seneca reminds us that we often squander our time without realizing its true worth. If someone is consistently late or dismissive of commitments, it raises a larger question: do they truly respect the effort and emotions of those around them? In my friend's case, his behavior revealed not only a lack of readiness for a serious relationship, but also a disregard for the effort she was investing in their future. Mismanagement of time doesn't just happen in relationships. It's something we encounter everywhere. Think about a colleague who repeatedly misses deadlines or arrives late to meetings. Their behavior disrupts group dynamics and undermines the trust of their peers. On the other hand, someone who consistently shows up on time and honors their promises builds an unspoken reputation of reliability and respect. So, how should you approach these situations when you're on the receiving end of someone's poor time management? First, acknowledge what the pattern of behavior is telling you. Actions speak louder than words, and if someone habitually disregards your time, it may reflect a deeper issue in their priorities or values. Recognizing this isn't about judgment, it's about clarity. Second, address the issue with calmness and honesty. Stoicism teaches us to respond to challenges with composure, not anger. Instead of accusing or escalating, communicate your concerns directly and factually. For example, in my friend's case, she could say, "When you're late or hesitant to meet my family, it makes me feel like our relationship isn't important to you. Is there a reason for this?" Asking open-ended questions invites dialogue rather than defensiveness. Lastly, remember that your own time is just as valuable. If someone repeatedly disrespects your time or commitments, it's worth considering whether their actions align with your values. Stoicism emphasizes living in harmony with your principles, which sometimes means setting boundaries and walking away from situations that don't honor your worth. When my friend finally had this conversation, she gained the clarity she needed. Her partner admitted he wasn't ready for the next step, allowing her to decide how to move forward. Time, she realized, is too precious to be spent waiting for someone who doesn't value it. And so she chose to value herself instead, a choice we all have the power to make. 4. Their online behavior. In today's digital age, our online behavior is often a reflection of our true selves, sometimes more than our in-person interactions. What we post, how we engage with others, and the way we handle conflicts online are all powerful indicators of our character. Stoicism teaches us that we cannot control the actions of others, but we can control how we react. In a world where words can be shared instantly and without consequence, this lesson becomes crucial. I recently came across someone on social media who continuously posted insults and attacked someone, claiming that this person had defamed her. She flooded that person's page with angry comments, demanding a public apology, or threatening that she wouldn't be at peace until it was addressed. As I read through her posts, I couldn't help but wonder, what does this behavior say about her inner state? And more importantly, how can we avoid letting such negativity consume us? In the heat of an online confrontation, it's easy to be swept away by anger or frustration. It's tempting to retaliate or demand an apology from someone, believing it will restore our sense of justice. But Stoicism reminds us that our peace is not dependent on the actions of others. It is within our control to maintain a sense of calm and to choose how we respond. If you find yourself in a situation where someone is treating others unfairly online, step back and assess the situation with clarity. Ask yourself, is this person's behavior something I can control? If the answer is no, then the only thing you have power over is your response. Do not let the need for an apology or validation from someone else determine your peace of mind. Stoic wisdom encourages us to practice self-control and not to let our emotions be governed by external circumstances. In moments like these, where online behavior spirals into conflict, choose to disengage from the drama. Instead of feeding into the negativity, choose silence or a measured response that reflects your values, not your emotions. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. If you witness someone else behaving this way, attacking others online or demanding an apology for a perceived wrong, take a step back and remind yourself that their behavior is a reflection of their inner turmoil, not your responsibility to fix. You can offer compassion, but you must also protect your peace. It is wise not to mirror their actions, but to act with grace and maintain your own integrity. By focusing on what you can control, your thoughts, your actions, and your responses, you preserve your emotional resilience and prevent the chaos of the outside world from disrupting your inner peace. When you choose to rise above the noise, You align yourself with Stoic principles of self-mastery, offering not only peace to yourself, but also an example of how to navigate conflict with wisdom and dignity. 5. Their behavior in multiple settings. Our true nature is often revealed not in isolated moments, but across different settings, when we are with family, in the workplace, or out in public. Stoic philosophy teaches us that our behavior should remain consistent, regardless of external circumstances. The key is cultivating a steady mind so that we act with integrity and respect in all situations. A person's character is not defined by how they act when they are being watched, but by how they act when they think no one is observing. A friend of mine once witnessed something that perfectly illustrates this point. He was at a shopping mall, walking to his car, when he saw a colleague, someone who appeared gentle, friendly, and well-liked in the office, shouting at his wife in the parking lot. The man's tone was harsh and demeaning, and the exchange was far from private, as several people were nearby, witnessing his outburst. My friend was shocked. He had always admired this colleague for his professionalism and kind demeanor at work. Yet in that moment, the man's behavior showed a side of him that was inconsistent with the image he projected in the office. It was a stark contrast, and my friend couldn't reconcile the two versions of the same person. This situation presents a powerful reminder of how easily we can compartmentalize ourselves, switching between different versions based on our environment. But the Stoic ideal is clear. True virtue doesn't change depending on where we are or who we're with. Marcus Aurelius writes, "If you seek tranquility, do less, or more accurately, do what's necessary, but in the right way." The challenge isn't just in doing the right thing when it's easy, but in doing so consistently across all areas of life. For those who find themselves on either side of a situation like this, either witnessing someone's negative behavior or reflecting on their own inconsistent actions, the Stoic approach is grounded in self-awareness and emotional discipline. It's easy to show one side of ourselves in a controlled environment like the workplace, where we know we're being observed. But true strength lies in being consistent, even when there are no eyes on us. If you encounter someone who behaves poorly in one setting, but is outwardly charming in another, it's important to understand that this inconsistency likely stems from a lack of emotional control. People who fail to act with integrity in multiple settings may not have developed the discipline required to live by their values consistently. Instead of reacting with judgment, the Stoic approach invites us to reflect on our own behavior. How often do we compartmentalize our actions based on who's around? Do we behave differently when we think no one is watching? The key to navigating these situations, whether dealing with others or looking inward, is rooted in Stoic practice. By practicing mindfulness and constantly striving to act with integrity, regardless of setting, we begin to forge a path to true inner peace. Respond to inconsistency with calm understanding, knowing that people often act from a place of inner turmoil. For yourself, the challenge is to develop consistency in your actions. Let your character shine through in all moments, not just the ones that are convenient. True virtue doesn't pick and choose based on the environment. It remains steady and unwavering, a reflection of a well-trained mind. 6. Facing hardship and adversity. Adversity is a test no one can escape. It comes in various forms: personal loss, financial struggles, or professional setbacks, and reveals the core of who we are. It's not the hardship itself, but how we respond to it that defines our character. Stoic philosophy offers a powerful lens through which to view such moments, emphasizing resilience, self-control, and the importance of inner peace. A close friend of mine faced an unimaginable tragedy. He was a cheerful and sociable person, always full of energy. His family was happy, with loving parents and a younger brother. But not long ago, his father suddenly passed away in a traffic accident. The loss shattered the family. His mother was overcome with grief, and his younger brother, too young to fully understand, was left confused and scared. As a senior in college at the time, my friend faced not only emotional pain, but also the economic burden of supporting his family. I worried for him, thinking the weight of it all might break him. But what I saw was the opposite. Despite his grief, he took on part-time work to support his family and ensure his younger brother could continue his education. He balanced this with his studies, determined to finish school. What amazed me most was his attitude. He remained optimistic, encouraging those around him and refusing to let despair take over. Contrast this with a colleague of mine who experienced failure in a major project. Instead of taking responsibility or learning from the setback, he blamed everyone around him, his team, his manager, and even the tools they used. The situation exposed a lack of accountability and emotional maturity. Where my friend showed resilience and strength in the face of tragedy, my colleague demonstrated avoidance and bitterness in response to a far lesser challenge. Stoicism reminds us that while we cannot control the events that happen to us, we can always control our reactions. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In adversity, we have a choice: to let challenges defeat us or to rise stronger. If you find yourself in a similar situation, facing hardships that seem insurmountable, take a moment to pause and reflect. Accept the reality of the situation without resistance. Denial only prolongs the pain. Then focus on what is within your power to change. Whether it's finding small ways to ease the burden or maintaining a calm presence for those around you, every action counts. Empathy is another tool. When witnessing someone else struggle, like my friend, extend support instead of judgment. A kind word, a helping hand, or simply listening can make a difference. On the other hand, if you notice someone consistently blaming others for their problems, recognize this as a sign of poor character and emotional immaturity. While compassion is important, protecting your emotional balance is equally vital. Adversity, though painful, holds immense growth potential. My friend's resilience turned his tragedy into a testament to inner strength, showing those around him that even in the darkest times, optimism and effort can light the way forward. It's a reminder that hardship doesn't define us, our response does. Choose strength, choose clarity, and choose to rise above. 7. What they do when no one is watching. How we behave when no one is looking speaks louder than any public act. It is in these moments that our true character is revealed. Stoicism teaches us that virtue lies in what we do when there are no external rewards or observers, and integrity is upheld even when no one notices. If we can act with responsibility in these quiet moments, we align ourselves with our deepest values, and our actions become an expression of inner peace and self-control. I once saw a person walking down the street, chewing gum and chatting on their phone. When they finished, they casually tossed the wrapper onto the sidewalk, as though it were an insignificant action. No one was around to see, and no one would have known if they hadn't done it. But in that moment, the disregard for the environment and the community was glaring. This small act of littering was not just about the gum wrapper. It reflected a lack of responsibility, not only to the community, but also to themselves. This person didn't think about the broader impact of their actions. They didn't consider that by discarding trash carelessly, they were contributing to the erosion of the public space, a space shared by everyone. The absence of immediate consequences didn't motivate them to act differently. Stoic philosophers often speak of how one should live according to nature and act with the greater good in mind, even when no one is watching. When we see someone behave in this way, it can be tempting to judge them. But rather than reacting with frustration or anger, we must ask ourselves, why is this person acting in such a way? In many cases, these actions come from a lack of awareness or an absence of self-reflection. They are not just about trash on the ground, but about a mindset that ignores the shared responsibility we all have in creating a peaceful and functional community. If you find yourself in a similar situation, perhaps seeing a friend, colleague, or even a stranger acting carelessly in private moments, Stoic wisdom encourages a calm response. Instead of reacting immediately, take a step back and reflect on the behavior. You cannot control the actions of others, but you can choose to lead by example. Show others what it means to act with integrity, even when no one is watching. Hold yourself accountable in private moments, whether it's picking up a piece of litter, being mindful of other space, or simply acting in a way that aligns with your values. By practicing self-discipline in these small, unnoticed moments, we build a foundation for greater character. These actions are the bedrock of trust and respect, both for ourselves and others. Stoicism teaches that true virtue isn't about the recognition or the applause we receive for doing good. It's about doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do. In these quiet moments, we shape our character, and in doing so, we strengthen the fabric of our communities. When we act with responsibility, even in the smallest ways, we become better versions of ourselves and inspire others to follow. 8. Handling power and influence. Power, whether in the workplace, at home, or in any relationship, reveals much about our character. The way we handle influence can either empower or degrade those around us. Stoicism teaches us that true power comes from within and is best used to serve others, not control or dominate them. It's through humility, empathy, and responsibility that we show our leadership, rather than through manipulation or coercion. I remember working alongside a colleague who had just been promoted to a managerial position. Initially, his leadership seemed promising, but it didn't take long to see a pattern emerge. Instead of lifting his team, he used his new position to assert dominance. He would take credit for successes, making sure his name was always front and center, and would point fingers when something went wrong. One day, after a significant project failure, instead of leading by example and taking responsibility, he blamed the entire team, criticizing them publicly in front of senior management. The atmosphere in the office grew tense. His power had become a tool for control rather than empowerment, and it wasn't long before his credibility and trust with the team eroded. On the other hand, I've observed leaders who exude quiet strength. These are the ones who use their power not to dominate, but to guide. They make decisions that reflect fairness and compassion, understanding that true leadership is about service, not self-promotion. These leaders empower their teams, offering guidance when needed and taking responsibility when things go wrong. They know that their power comes from the trust of others, and they do everything they can to maintain it. Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus remind us that leadership is not about gaining power for personal gain, but about using whatever influence we have to foster harmony and promote mutual respect. Marcus Aurelius, in his Reflections, spoke often about the importance of humility in leadership. He believed that power, when rooted in virtue, could elevate everyone involved. The Stoic approach to power is about recognizing that our actions, even in positions of influence, should be driven by the common good, not personal ego. If you find yourself in a situation where someone in a position of power is misusing their influence, don't mirror their behavior. Instead, focus on how you can lead by example. Recognize the responsibility that comes with power and choose to act with integrity. Use your influence to lift others, not to diminish them. When you lead with humility, you not only inspire trust, but also cultivate a positive environment where collaboration and mutual respect thrive. On the other hand, if you're the one in a position of power, remember that how you wield it matters. True leadership requires self-awareness and the ability to reflect on how your actions affect others. Are you using your influence to build trust, or are you using it to control? The Stoic way teaches us to act with purpose and to lead by the example of our character, ensuring that our influence serves not only our own interests but also the well-being of those around us. In moments of power, remember that your true strength lies in your ability to uplift others, not to dominate them. True influence comes not from exerting control, but from leading with integrity, fairness, and wisdom. 9. The impact of relationships. The relationships we build are often the mirror of our own emotional stability. Stoicism teaches us that true harmony comes not from seeking perfection in others, but from cultivating it within ourselves. We cannot control how others behave, but we can control how we respond. Understanding this is key to navigating relationships with clarity and emotional resilience. I know a person who, over the years, has maintained a series of relationships, each one ending in a whirlwind of drama and conflict. At first, these relationships seem promising, full of excitement, passion, and connection. But over time, the pattern repeats. Small disagreements snowball into major confrontations, and the relationship inevitably collapses. This person struggles to understand why their relationships are so volatile, yet they never take the time to reflect on their own role in the cycle. They often jump from one relationship to another, thinking the next one will be different, only to repeat the same mistakes. Their inability to maintain stability is not just about choosing the wrong partners, but about an internal restlessness that they never address. Their sense of inner peace is contingent on the shifting dynamics of their relationships, which makes them vulnerable to turmoil. This constant search for fulfillment in others, rather than in themselves, leads to emotional instability. From a Stoic perspective, this behavior highlights a lack of emotional self-control and an over-reliance on external validation. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about the importance of internal peace and self-sufficiency. He believed that only by mastering our reactions and emotions can we navigate relationships without becoming overwhelmed by them. True strength lies in remaining steadfast, regardless of the external chaos around us. This pattern of instability and emotional dependency is often a reflection of a deeper need for validation. When we allow our emotional state to be dictated by the people around us, we hand over our peace to forces beyond our control. Stoic philosophy teaches that the key to lasting relationships lies in mutual respect, personal accountability, and the ability to maintain inner peace, regardless of external circumstances. When we learn to cultivate our sense of balance, we stop seeking external sources to fill the gaps in our emotional life. We begin to build stronger, more stable relationships rooted in respect, not need. Relationships should complement our sense of self, not define it. By practicing Stoic principles, self-reflection, emotional regulation, and inner peace, we can transform our approach to relationships and begin to create deeper, more meaningful connections. This shift from seeking fulfillment in others to finding it within ourselves not only strengthens our relationships, but also enhances our overall sense of well-being and peace. As we reflect on the lessons shared today, we see how Stoic philosophy offers us the tools to navigate the complexities of human behavior. Whether it's interacting with those who offer no benefit, managing minor inconveniences, or maintaining integrity across multiple settings, the key lies in our response. Stoicism teaches us that we cannot control the actions of others, but we can control our reactions. And in doing so, we cultivate the emotional resilience and inner peace that allow us to live with purpose and clarity. Throughout the examples discussed, from the harsh treatment of a service worker to the inconsistencies in a colleague's behavior, we see how easily we can be drawn into negative patterns. Yet, it is in these moments that our true character is tested. The challenge is not to control others, but to maintain our own integrity, regardless of external circumstances. By choosing to act with self-discipline and humility, we not only protect our inner peace, but also set an example for those around us. If you witness behaviors that are inconsistent with the virtues you strive to embody, respond with calm understanding. Recognize that each moment is an opportunity to choose how you act. Whether you are dealing with a difficult person or reflecting on your behavior, use these moments to practice Stoic principles. Reflect on your responses and seek to align your actions with your highest values. Remember, the practice of Stoicism is not an occasional effort. It is a daily commitment. Each day presents a new chance to cultivate patience, integrity, and emotional resilience. I encourage you to apply these lessons in your own life, to act with awareness, and to stay true to your principles, no matter the situation. Share your stories and experiences in the comments below. Your insights can inspire others to embark on this journey of growth and self-improvement.